Hey guys, it's Olga. For today's video, I'm going to show you 4 really easy and awesome vegan dinner recipes that both my husband and I absolutely love. Some of you might know that he is not vegan. He also happens to be one of the pickiest eaters that I know. So if he loves those recipes, you are guaranteed to love them as well. I hope you're hungry. Let's get started. The first dinner I'm going to show you is roasted potatoes with mushrooms. Start by preheating the oven to 425 degrees Fahrenheit. Peel and cut the potatoes. I'm using red skin potatoes as you can see. I usually cut them into small cubes so they can roast faster. I place the potatoes in a large bowl and add the spices. You can experiment with different spice combinations, but I personally like adding cumin, paprika, chili powder, salt and pepper. I also add a tiny splash of grapeseed oil and mix everything together. If you want, you can roast the potatoes without any oil. They're still going to turn out great because of all of the spices. Then I spread the potatoes on a baking tray covered with parchment paper. Try to lay them out in a single layer. In another bowl, add sliced king oyster mushrooms. I season them with salt, pepper, and dried thyme. You can of course use fresh thyme if you have any. Add a bit of grapeseed oil and mix well. I spread the mushrooms on another baking tray covered with parchment paper. Both my husband and I love mushrooms, and you will definitely be able to tell from these recipes. Place the potatoes and mushrooms in the oven and roast until the potatoes become soft on the inside and the mushrooms become crispy. Meanwhile, I steam some veggies. We usually do broccoli and asparagus. It's super simple. I just cut the broccoli into small florets and remove the woody base of the asparagus. I then steam them together for 5 to 7 minutes. I'm a big fan of salads, as you might know, so I'm making a simple salad with lettuce, cucumbers, and tomatoes. This lettuce is called green leaf lettuce, I believe. I roughly chop everything and combine in a bowl. I made a video with 7 of my favorite easy salad recipes that you can have on the side. If you want to check it out, the link will be in the description. I season the salad with salt and pepper, add olive oil and lime juice. Very easy and very tasty. By this time, the asparagus and broccoli are done and mushrooms are ready as well. They cook faster than the potatoes, so I take them out first. In total, I usually roast them for 25 to 30 minutes. The potatoes were done just a few minutes later. To check if they're ready, I just poke a few with a fork to see how soft they are. Then I assemble our plates. If I have the time, I like making them look nice and pretty. We definitely eat with our eyes first. This is quite a light dinner for us, but I always make more than 2 servings, so if either one of us is feeling very hungry, we can always go for seconds, and if not, we have some veggies left over for the next day. Both of us love this dinner, so I make it at least once a week. Moving on to dinner idea number 2, pasta with homemade tomato sauce. The first thing I do is put a large pot of water to boil and start on the tomato sauce. I love making my own tomato sauce because it tastes so much better than anything you can buy in a store, and it's not as hard as it might seem. I first dice half of an onion, then I roughly chop a red bell pepper and a few tomatoes. You don't have to worry about cutting it nicely since we're going to blend them later anyways. You want to end up with about 2 cups of tomatoes. Next, I heat up some grapeseed oil in a pan and saute the diced onion and 1 minced garlic clove over medium heat for 2 to 3 minutes. Then I add tomatoes and peppers and continue cooking for 10 minutes. When the water for the pasta starts to boil, I add some sea salt and cook the pasta according to the instructions on the box. I love using this red lentil pasta from Tolerant. It's gluten-free, it's organic, and it's made with only 1 ingredient, red lentils. It's my go-to gluten-free pasta at the moment. After 10 minutes, this is what your tomatoes and peppers should look like. So then I transfer them to a blender. I tried to not block the camera while I was doing it and ended up making a huge mess. Very typical of me. I also add sun-dried tomatoes to the blender, fresh basil, dried oregano, red pepper flakes, cumin, black pepper, and salt, and blend until smooth. As always, all ingredients and directions for these recipes will be on my website at fablunch.com. I put the direct link for you in the description. I love this tomato sauce. It turns out so creamy without any dairy in it, and it's so flavorful. Like I said, I haven't found a store-bought tomato sauce that can beat this one. I like my tomato sauce chunky and a little bit spicy, so I'm actually slicing some cherry tomatoes in half and dicing a jalapeno pepper. I'm adding the cherry tomatoes to the same pan I used used to cook the pepper and tomatoes and cooking them for 3 to 4 minutes. I like the sweetness that cherry tomatoes add, but you can of course use regular tomatoes or skip this step altogether if you don't want to have any chunks in your pasta. To the cherry tomatoes, I'm adding my blended pasta sauce, and I wanted to share this life-changing tool with you guys. It's this skinny spatula that is ideal for scraping the bottom of the blender jar where the blade is. I don't know about you, but I use my blender a lot, and I used to always get frustrated that I couldn't get all of the goodness from the bottom of the jar. When you're making ice cream or tomato sauce, this could be very upsetting. So if any of you are in the same situation, give this magic tool a try. Next, add diced jalapeno pepper and cook everything for 5 minutes. At this point, my pasta is usually ready, so I drain it and rinse with cold water to stop the cooking process. As you can see, the pasta fades in color quite a bit, so it pretty much looks like regular wheat pasta. I add the pasta to the pan and mix it with the tomato sauce. I also like adding fresh spinach to the pasta. I continue cooking everything over low heat until the spinach wilts. The pasta is now ready and it's time to plate it. I add some capers on top of my pasta. My husband does not like them, so he doesn't get any. And more fresh basil. I can never get enough of it. So this is another dinner that we love. An awesome thing about this red lentil pasta is that it actually contains about 20 grams of protein per serving. It's also full of fiber, iron, and zinc, so it's really nutritious and it doesn't make you feel guilty after you eat it. Dinner number 3 is a split pea and mushroom stew. Start by slicing an onion. Heat a tablespoon of grapeseed oil in a large pot. Add the sliced onions and cook over medium heat for 3 to 4 minutes. Then add 2 teaspoons of salt, half a teaspoon of pepper, and half a teaspoon of turmeric. Mix and cook for 1 to 2 minutes. Next, add 4 cups of water or vegetable broth. Rinse 3 1/4 cup of split peas and add them to the pot as well. Bring to a boil, cover the pot, and cook over low heat for 30 minutes. While the lentils are cooking, I prep the rest of the ingredients that will go into the stew. So I'm peeling and dicing 2 medium potatoes and a carrot, and slicing 1 tomato. After 30 minutes, I add the diced potatoes, carrot, and tomato to the pot, along with diced cremini mushrooms. I buy mushrooms that are already pre-cut, so it saves me some time, and they actually cost the same as whole mushrooms, so it's a win-win. Give everything a good stir and continue cooking on low heat for another 30 minutes, stirring occasionally. When the stew is ready, add 1/3 cup of lime juice and a tablespoon of tomato paste. Stir one more time and cook for a few more minutes. We usually eat this stew with quinoa or brown rice. This recipe is actually based on a popular Persian dish, which I veganized. My husband is Persian and it's one of his favorite things to eat, so it's nice that we get to enjoy it together. I like to garnish it with some greens on top, and it's ready to be served. It's a very hearty and comforting recipe, and since it's still quite cold in Canada, it's very weather appropriate. And the last recipe for today is an easy vegan ramen. Start by thinly slicing shiitake mushrooms. I love cooking with shiitake mushrooms. They have amazing healing and health benefits. They help to fight cancer cells and various infections, promote brain and heart health, and boost your immune system, just to name a few. Then I grate some fresh ginger. And I feel like I always mention this, but ginger is definitely one of those superfoods that you want to include as much as possible in your diet. Heat a little bit of grapeseed oil in a large pan. Add your grated ginger and 1 minced clove of garlic and cook for a minute over medium heat. Then add 3 cups of vegetable broth. Combine 1 tablespoon of miso paste in a bowl with a little bit of water and stir to dissolve. Add the mixture to the pan. Bring to a simmer, you don't want to boil the stock. Finally, add the mushrooms and cook for 5 to 7 minutes. Meanwhile, wash bok choy or any other Asian greens and roughly chop them. You can also use spinach if you can't find bok choy. Add bok choy to the pan together with 1 tablespoon of soy sauce. I usually use gluten-free soy sauce from Bragg or Coconut Aminos. Allow everything to simmer for a couple of minutes while you prepare the noodles. I use these organic ramen noodles for my husband, and for myself I use the ones made with wild rice. I cook them separately so I can keep my meal gluten-free. When the noodles are ready, I drain the water and add them to a bowl. I then divide the ramen broth between the 2 bowls. Finally, I garnish it with green onion, and dinner is ready. You can also add some tofu to this ramen to make it more filling. So here are 4 vegan dinners that are staples at our house and are approved by my hubby. I hope you give some of them a try. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe to my channel for more healthy vegan recipes if you haven't done so already. Let me know in the comments if you have a special vegan recipe that you like making for your non-vegan friends and what it is. I would love to know. Also, if you happen to recreate any of the dishes that I showed you today, please post a picture on Instagram and tag me in it. I would absolutely love to see it. I hope you guys are having a beautiful day. I will see you in my next video. Bye!